Hey there my fellow Indians, welcome to News Hamster. Well, today's video is yet again about the hijab controversy. Well, you must be thinking, why is News Hamster covering this issue extensively? It's quite simple because the issue has not seemed to calm down and it's going leaps and bounds. It's exaggerated more than it should have possibly been exaggerated. And now, as you're all aware, the issue has reached the High Court, which has passed an interim order as well. And the girls have decided to move to the Supreme Court, which has also said that it will take up the matter but not on an urgent basis. So, keeping in mind all this and awaiting the orders of the High Court, let's understand what has been happening in the High Court, what are the precedents that High Court has been examining, and where are we standing vis-a-vis the hijab issue and what it has become and why it has reached here. But before that, I would request you to subscribe to News Hamster for more such content ahead and stay tuned with me until the video ends. Now, the basic idea of examination in High Court will be Article 25, Clause 1. Now, as you all know, the Indian Constitution gives us a fundamental right, that is to practice and profess our religion. It also says that if your religion is, affecting public order, morality, integrity of the nation, we cannot let you practice it. These are the reasonable restrictions that are present with all fundamental rights entitled to us from the Indian Constitution. Now you must think, if hijab as a concept, if hijab as a piece of cloth is disturbing the public order, is it causing a public nuisance, or is it affecting the integrity of the nation? This is the point number one that we need to think about. Now let us go back a little to 2016 when this issue came up before the Kerala High Court. The Kerala High Court examined this because of the pre-medical entrance examination, where the girls who wanted to enter the exam hall wanted to enter it with a hijab, and the authorities were quite skeptical if this will be okay, as they might indulge themselves in cheating, probably carrying small chits, hiding in their hijab or whatever it is. But this matter was later moved to the Kerala High Court. The Kerala High Court was of the opinion that they can wear the hijab and enter the exam hall. And if you're so skeptical about them wearing the hijab or them cheating, let them wear it right in front of you just 30 minutes before the examination. This was the ruling given by the Kerala High Court. Then the same matter came up before the Supreme Court. Supreme Court had a different take altogether, which said that if you go without the hijab for a matter of 7 to 8 days, for 7 to 8 examinations, 7 to 8 subjects, your faith on that particular days will not get diluted, which definitely makes sense. Now, these are some of the precedents, but I will tell you a little more details where the Supreme Court, or any High Court for that matter, has crossed the bounds and has tried to examine the idea of essential and non-essential practices. Now, when I talk about hijab issue, the major question that is being raised is hijab an essential practice of Islam, or if it's not an essential practice of Islam? For a lot of people, hijab is definitely an essential practice. For a lot of people, it's don't. So, keeping these cases in mind, let us see what the Karnataka High Court has to do. First, I would like to point out the Shirur Mutt case that came into picture in the year 1954. Now, in this case, the term religion was used to talk about the fact that religion as a term encompasses all essential rituals and practices in that particular religion. This is one precedent that was provided. Following this, we had another case, which is the Gram Sabha of village Battis Shirala versus the Union of India. In this case, the people wanted to worship, they wanted to capture a live cobra and they wanted to worship it. The court here examined the Hindu scriptures, very selectively examined the Hindu scriptures and pointed out that nowhere is it okay or is it essential for you to capture a live cobra and worship it, and as a result we are not allowing you to do this. Then in another picture, we had a police officer who grew a beard, and he was ousted from the department simply because he had a beard and the department did not want a beard. Now this matter went to court, and the court here looked at the practice more than the text. Now if you look at it that way, having a beard is definitely an essential part of Islamic religion, but the court here looked at the practice and cited that many great Muslim personalities don't have a beard, so the matter was ruled out and the beard idea had to be gotten rid of. Apart from that, we have another case which is very, very important, the Anand Marga case, where the people belonging to the Anand Marga sect practiced Tandava dance on the roads. And this actually went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court took a stance here that you are not supposed to practice Tandava dance on the road or wherever it is, because Tandava dance is not an essential part of your sect. Now here it was quite a strange reason that they cited, that the Anand Marga as a sect came into existence in 1955, but Tandava dance was adopted in 1966, much later. So in a regressive manner, Supreme Court ousted with the fact that it's not a part of your religion. Now, keeping these three precedents in mind, we have to understand where the Supreme Court or even the High Court will stand with regards to the hijab issue. Will hijab be considered an important part of religion, or will it not be considered an important part of religion? Now, there is already a wave outside that hijab is not an essential part, which a lot of Muslim clergies are disagreeing on, because hijab can be considered an important part of the religion, which is an essential part of the religion, because it is used to cover the in a very figurative manner. It try to cover the modesty of the women. They feel safe whenever they wear it. It is also important that people do not get confused between burqa and a hijab. Burqa is a different concept altogether. Hijab is a different concept altogether. Protection of a modesty for a man and woman in Islam is equally important. That's one thing I would like to point out. Next thing I would like to say that Article 25 or Article 24, it is an individual right. It is not a collective right. So we have to look at it from an individual point of view, what this person is feeling when they practice that thing, when they practice that tradition, when they practice that idea given to them in that particular religion. Now, in all these cases, the essentiality test came into picture, where essentiality was measured. Now, if you look at it that way, the temple entry issue also came into picture, where the issue was examined by the Supreme Court, and the issue was taken into the factor of essentiality. Is untouchability an essential part of Hinduism? It's definitely not, right? So this ruled by the Supreme Court, it's saying that as untouchability is not a part. So essentiality will definitely come into picture when you talk about this hijab issue that is currently pending in the High Court, and is currently pending in the Supreme Court as well. Moving on, we have to understand this point of view here, that the court should look at this issue in a very legal sense, in a very straight sense. If the court is trying to you could say categorize essential practices, non-essential practices, the court is more or less becoming the clergy. I think the court should just leave these matters to clergy, where they will decide what is essential or not. But here the court should only rule on if this is constitutional or non-constitutional. This is a opinion that we have collected from various kinds of people we have gotten in touch with. This is a very thing that's been expected. Apart from that, one thing we would also look at is the fact that the model of secularism in India is very different from the model of secularism in different countries. For example, the Indian model of secularism, we also call it the soft model of secularism, is different from the hard model, the Western model of secularism, where there is separate, there is very strict separation between the state and the idea of religion. But here in India, it's different. The state can definitely contribute to the growth and welfare of the religion. At the same time, if the religion is interfering in your fundamental rights, the religion is affecting the way you live, the state will interfere and put an end to that, you could say, horrible or any wrong practice that has been happening. So if the court is ruling, the court has to give out in a very strict sense that the idea of religious symbols should be completely washed away from from educational institutions. Neither there should be a hijab, nor there should be a saffron shawl, or whatever it is. Everything has to be washed out. A civil code, or you could say a uniform code for all educational institutions, particularly those of government, has to be given. This has to be directed by the court to the Karnataka government, which should issue a ruling that this is exactly what is supposed to be worn by the students in this particular institution. They cannot wear anything that they want, be it a religious or non-religious symbol. This will make it more streamlined and will give less interference for political issues in this particular area. Now, what we have seen is the issue has become worse and worse. It is horrible, heart-wrenching to see schools and colleges become playgrounds for this political problem, these communal issues. Because back when I was in college, for me the maximum problem was if the person sitting right next to me in the bench will talk to me or not. I was least concerned if he wore a hijab, if he wore a shawl, or whatever it is. But now these institutions have become a playground. There are protests and counter protests and saffron shawls and blue shawls, and the flagpoles being the saffron shawl, a saffron flag being raised in the flagpoles, and lot of issues happening, almost riots like situation. And the most sad thing is that it is happening in pure places that are educational institutions, the temples of education. If you have observed, there was one issue that sprang up in the college of the Koppa region in coastal Karnataka. The college sorted out the issue in a very amicable manner and said that the girls can wear a hijab and come to classroom if the hijab is matching the color of the uniform. This was not widely covered, but yes, this has been a progress, or this has been a solution that the college has reached. Why not all the other colleges are reaching this particular solution? It's simply because politics is at play in these areas. Politics has come into picture in all of these schools and colleges. They are very nicely influencing the children on either side, giving them some kind of shawl, some kind of things, and they say this is essential, this is non-essential. The politics has to come to an end, and the High Court is the only place we can expect a solution to this particular problem. Otherwise, this is going to continue. And today it's hijab, tomorrow it's going to be something else. We saw some horrible scenarios here where, you know, you must have seen that video. It went very viral. One of the girls who just parked her bike, she was wearing a burqa, she just walked, and the guys in saffron shawls started heckling her, started to, you know, shout slogans. They walked behind her group of guys, which is a very horrible thing. This is not just limited to women empowerment or whatever it is. Religion has come into picture for them. As a result, this heckling goes on, and in response, the girl also shouted Allahu Akbar, which was her way of self-defense. Now my problem here is, the problem is very simple. Now this girl has become a star overnight because many Muslim organizations, Muslim political leaders have been encouraging her, have been giving her cash prizes, have been giving her scholarships or whatever it is. My question is, guys, what are you up to? Are you trying to fuel this so-called civil war scenario that we are having here by giving her money, giving her to, you know, tomorrow if this girl is given so an encouragement, it will be someone else who will do this. The whole idea here is we have to put an end. We don't want neither Jai Shri Ram, neither do we want Allahu Akbar. Both of the things have to be calmed down. The only thing we need to speak about is Jai Hind, that the country is superior than anything else. And if you guys go on and give her, you know, money, scholarship, and, you know, anything for that matter, this might not implicate well on our social fabric. You never know. Her parents are already very much in tension because of the whole hijab issue. They might just take the money and get her married tomorrow. So our political leaders are just using these young little children for their advantage. Political parties or student organizations, they are making a fuss out of this scenario, and the people are just watching it, sharing the videos, making it viral. I think we all have to be mature citizens of the country and take a proper stance that a code has to be imposed for all educational institutions. I am nowhere talking about uniform civil code. I am only talking about a code that has to be taken forward for the educational institutions, which should not allow any of these things. That's what the Karnataka government did when they imposed the Karnataka Education Act of 1983, which maintained a status quo that no such religious symbols will be allowed, and only what is decided has to be worn. Now the interim High Court judgment also says the same thing, that whatever district management committee has decided, that you have to wear to colleges. And if High Court rules that this is what you're supposed to wear to colleges, that there is a particular dress code that you're supposed to follow, I think all of them should just abide by it without disturbing the social fabric and communal fabric, and giving some kind of mileage to political parties, student organizations, or even political leaders. This is my humble request to all of those watching this video that have some maturity when you're looking at this issue. Look at it from the legal point of view. Do not let your religion, do not let your faith, do not let your culture influence what you're doing, because for us the ulterior motive, the bigger goal is a country called India, not any religion of Muslim, Sikhism, Islam or Hinduism or whatever it is. And please understand that this whole young generation is going to be the leaders of tomorrow. Let us not influence their mindsets in a very horrible way, and to see them fight against each other at such a young age, displaying religious symbols, is more troublesome than anything can possibly be. So I would request to share this video, let the people know what the High Court is talking about and how this issue is being magnified, this issue has been exaggerated. Don't forget to subscribe to News Hamster. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more such content ahead.